Hello witches, and welcome back to Activist
Witches.
where we discuss witchcraft and...
Activisms.
You can call me Isha, my pronouns are she, they.
You can call me Raven, my pronouns are she, they.
And in today's video, we're gonna do the Happy Witch Tag that Kellyanne Maddox started, I think, 5 years ago. And I feel very lucky. The algorithm keeps pushing to me old videos of Kellyanne that I want to watch all because she made like 800 and more in the last decade or so. And when I found this, I was like, you know what? We need to focus on something positive. Goddess know if we need to focus on something positive. So here we go, and I'm joined by my lovely best half, which is Raven, and we're gonna both tell you our experience in our practice, which is just coming around. It's just been 3 years since we've practiced in our adult life.
And it's also good timing because I'm just starting to read Witch in Darkness, so it's very thematic in a very ironic way.
And yes, let's get into this. But before we get started, let me remind you that I've opened a coffee. And if you like what we do here, you can support us directly there with a one-off donation, a monthly recurring donation, or even get a tarot reading with me, Italian style. The low-income option starts at £5. And for the foreseeable future, part of my profits from tarot reading go directly to support Kuchus to Gaza, who supports Palestinian refugees in Cairo, and the Good Law Project, who's trying to bring back trans rights to the UK, because trans rights are human rights. So if you'd like to support us there, thank you so very much. We have 10 questions. We've made it 11. You'll see at the end why.
And in typical fashion, this video will be an hour and a half long.
Because when we talk, aren't you glad that you've been invited to the cottage of the activist witches to talk happiness in witchcraft today?
The official Whiskers Cottage.
Grab a cuppa, because we're going to chat about what is so great about being a witch. 1. What makes you happiest about the fact that you're a witch? Shall I start? I'll start. Yeah. I have 2 points here. One is the difference between any kind of other spirituality that I've experienced and witchcraft. Because all the other kinds of spirituality always delegate power to a higher authority.
Authority. Wow, that was shit. Hang on. I've lost my authority.
Amelia. You know, maybe it's my Catholic upbringing, not so much in the religious way, but in the society that builds around a country that is as Catholic as Italy.
Yeah, cultural Catholicism is real.
It is real, and it's my main trauma, like much more than religion itself or going to mass. That was the issue. So doing something that puts me in touch with spirituality and with a practice, a ritual, and you know what? Actionable things like spellcraft that are down to me, are something that I can put my hands in and get dirty and do things. It's something that I really like. I don't have to delegate any power or ask permission to somebody that is higher than me and closer to God or divinity or anything else. And I like this democratization. On the other hand of the spectrum, I have tried to be completely secular. I've been agnostic and I was very close to be atheistic. Is it atheistic?
Yeah.
And that is a life without magic and without joy. For me. If it works for somebody else, amazing. To me, it was taking the joy out of life. So trying to find literally the magic in life and, having a smile when a bizarre synchronicity happens. Maybe it really means nothing. Maybe, if you were to look at everything with a scientific method, maybe none of this would stand up. I don't need everything to stand up in order to actually enjoy life. Actually, I need some things to be inexplicable and just bask in them. And both those things allow me to be in a space, in this spectrum between nothing is magic other than science and what we can measure, to no, there's a God and it's specific and there are rules to it that you just need to bend to. Making my own practice in between those two things is really the best thing that I've come to being a witch.
Yeah, I would say I'd agree mainly on that last bit. I can remember when I would talk about why I trust in sort of physics and the universe stuff most often. But so for me, it was always a case of I didn't need the magic to see the magic. Okay. I was like, the universe is amazing. It's fantastic as it is. But I think what it gives for me is the lack of rigidity around critical thinking. Everything we do with witchcraft is still such critical thinking, but just again, I've said it before, is recognizing the power structures that were put in place by rationality.
Yeah.
That were put in place by rationalism, and the new hierarchy of who gets to decide what truth is and what information is. Getting to analyze that, I mean, especially as a queer person, and seeing the way that they've used that authority to put queer people down, to put black and brown and indigenous people down, like being able to question that properly and still apply that methodology and still find that same beauty and that same wonder, but just broadening those horizons. I think when I was like 10 years old, I read the Celestine Prophecies. One of my favorite bits from that book is about noticing on a street that everyone's staring at the floor when they walk. Like they're making sure that they're not going to step in anything. They're making sure that they're not going to trip over anything. But they shrink their world when they do that. Whereas if you always look out to the horizon, you get to see everything. You get to have this like wider periphery, and you observe more of the world and you become more connected to it by just recognizing that. So I think that's what witchcraft does for me.
Fair. Because also, spoiler alert, we have been thinking and dabbling about starting a podcast that is not the Witchy Talk podcast, is more ample and wide. And I think the first thing that we want to talk about is how we come from very different visions of the world. I've always said it before, like Raven comes from a physics and very scientific background, and I am this, 10, 8-year-old girls in a trench coat. So it's, but we come to the same conclusions despite coming from very, very different backgrounds. So that will be something that we will talk in the first episode.
And I think we complement each other as well.
Very much so. So yeah, keep an eye out. Second question. Which practice do you tend to enjoy most in your witchcraft and why? Okay, so I had to differentiate in my case between what do I enjoy actually and what I like to do, but it's also a lot of work, so it takes a lot from me as well. So I think especially at the beginning there was very much the magic of doing a spell, casting a circle, calling the quarters, putting, all the correspondences to the quarters. Like I loved that kind of ritualistic, possibly because as my Catholic upbringing, I'm used to the ritualization, of churches and everything. So doing something basically like that in my own altar was kind of cool. But that's also a lot of work, I will not lie, which has severely affected the quantity of spells that I do. Like, I really plan for a spell, and I do maybe less than a spell a month, in fairness. Apart from one that is recurring, that I talked about in the Q&A, actually. So if you want to know more about that, I've talked about it in that video, I'll link it. But otherwise, coming up with a new spell for a new reason, I really do a lot of energy economics to see, have I tried everything else before going to a spell? Because if I do a spell, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like at the beginning, we were always there, like doing the circle, doing this, doing that, and I involved you all the time. And I think, not that it annoyed you, but it sort of took the magic a bit out for you as well.
It's not necessarily that, but I'm really bad at regrounding.
Huh.
So I'm very good at like harnessing energy, sensing energy, manipulating energy. But actually, I think probably quite a lot of that is me putting my own energy into things. And so, that bit of grounding at the end, like, it'll make me feel okay in that moment, and then like an hour later I'm crashed and I'm wiped out.
I mean, that's why there's cakes and ales, supposedly at the end of a spell.
Yeah. I think it just became a point of, like, I'm wearing myself thin by doing it as often as you were doing it, and when it gets to that point, then, I knock myself out of the habit.
And it's fair, like, it's what I'm saying as well, like, it is tiring, it is work to do spellcraft that way. So I am parsimonious in what I do a spell for nowadays. So I like that, but it is a given, rightfully, it is a give and take of energy. It's, you put something in, and the universe gives you something back, but, there needs to be a balance. What I just purely enjoy, despite the fact that it does require energy, but I don't know, the joy probably, the naivete, the full energy that I have about it, it's still higher than what it takes from me. It's being in contact with nature. One survived the 2 or 3 fallen trees. We are undoubtedly getting to Castel Dog through a 2 new path. completely, entirely. Nobody know. Well, no, the pathways of Wales. No, we didn't know. Starting witchcraft, the first thing that I started off was, okay, there's all this greenery around, even the trees in the park, and I didn't know what the trees were. So starting to identify them, identifying the weeds in the cracks of the pavement. Now I can tell you everything. Like 3 years later, I can tell you every weed, what it's there for, what it does, if it has properties, if it's just a weed. Like the other month, we found literally next to our gutter a kind of wild parsley that actually it's very fancy and used in high 5-star restaurants. I love that. Like it's like getting to know your neighbors. And I really like that. Mm-hmm. The most. I think the thing I enjoy the most is actually like putting intention into the mundane stuff.
Ooh. So yeah, someone with ADHD, anything that's like repetitive or takes a while will be something where like my mind will start wandering, it'll start racing, and I'll get distracted from what I'm doing, or I'll get really bored. So like with the baking thing, part of what was so enjoyable about doing the baking was putting intention into the folds, or in kneading, as I'm stirring and mixing ingredients, and just using that side of things to ground, I guess, the deeper relationship that you have with what you're doing. Yeah, when you put the intention and when you have the witch mindset. Yeah, I can see that. And so like when a bake comes out well, that's not just I did a good job. That's my intention has been, my spell has worked. Yeah, the spell has worked. The rise of the bread is a direct correlation of how well the spell's going to work out in the wider things. And I think, yeah, it just adds more joy into everyday things if you can apply like a witchcraft lens to those kind of things. That is very valid. I do lack the ability of mundanity like that. Like I do have my rituals, but I still have this dependency on authority about surely me just stirring in a coffee cannot be enough, but I should more. I should trust myself more. There's going to be a question where we're going to go into that, so I'm not going to spoil anything. Question number 3. Have you changed in positive ways as the result of practicing the craft? So I think, because this answer technically Raven gave about me, I think we should switch. So you give the answer of what has made me positive about, and I'll say what has made you positive about. I think the most obvious thing that sprung out when you asked the question is just like how much your mental health improved since starting witchcraft. So like the things that used to fixate on and used to spiral around, by making things into rituals, that kind of grounding aspect of it to keep you in the here and now, so you're not in the future where things are terrible or thinking back to the past. You are more at home in your body. Yeah. More aware of yourself in a lot of different ways. I think it's just improved your relationship with everything around you. That's made you a happier, more optimistic person. Whereas, with certain phobias that you've had, you can be you have been quite dready. Yeah. Full of dread, not dreadful, full of dread. No, it's very true. I think from the other side is that, again, because I never thought that you'd even consider, like there were times in our life before coming openly to witchcraft that I felt like at best you were being really sweet, but you were like, well, like I can't understand these things. I don't care. I don't believe in all of this. But if it makes you feel better, it's good, and I'll support you, and I will not say anything bad about it. Which, admittedly, you never did. But to me, that wasn't enough. That really wasn't enough. And I remember for like a few years trying to find. I think it's something that I even talked about with my previous therapist about, and I was like, because that was exactly the point, like because my level of dread was such, and I was looking constantly to a very far future, and I was probably making up problems that weren't there, but in my mind were very real. And I think at that point, having a common vision of a framework higher than we are in suits of flesh, so what happens after we die, that kind of thing, I was obsessed in a very unhealthy way about that. And it was just something that didn't exist to you. And that didn't put me in a very good mental place. No, but it's fair. And that's why I always say, to me, it was so surprising when
the suggestion of getting into Witchcraft from you. And I should have known, because like that same year, like in February, you got me the tarot deck, and I was just like, where does this come from?
And I got you the blood vial.
Yes, but the blood vial, you know, we are very close. I still have it. It's really...
Yeah, but like I got that on the basis of like in witchcraft, this is something that comes after marriage. Like this is such a much bigger deal than that. So like I didn't give it to you without understanding and agreeing with the principles behind it. Like
no, I didn't know. Like to me, the point was like, well, when you give your blood to someone, it's like the maximum thing that you can give of you to them. But I didn't think it in a witchcraft terms. So much so that when you get me the tarot deck, I was just like, I remember this, but I don't know what you want me to do with this, because I was like, you can't possibly, you don't believe in these things. So it was fascinating to see. You opened an entire different new part of your mind to me.
Yeah.
And you know, we've been together for 11 years. You think that we know each other inside out, which we mostly do. But to me, the most amazing thing is that you still tell me things and I still get to know parts of you. And after 11 years, there's not a part of you that you bring to me and it's new that I don't like and love and makes you perfect to me.
Oh, well.
So it's amazing to find out more things about you that I can love.
Yeah. Love you too.
There were people in the chat at Critical Thinking Witches that were saying how soppy and lovely we are.
Amazing.
It's just a thing that people know we are. 4. What has been the most positive result you have had from a spell or a ritual? Is it the same? Is it the same for both? Because
yeah,
that had an effect on both of us. So actually, it's the one and only spell that I shared on this channel. You literally have the video with footage and explaining how I did it beginning to end. I did that when we were in West Wales in like I think April of 2024, and it was a success and prosperity spell. And it wasn't very specific about something, I just knew what success looked like to me, and it wasn't about a specific job, it wasn't about a specific anything. My idea was get us in positions where we can reach people that appreciate what we do, and possibly we can make money out of it because, hey, disabled broke witch is here. But it was very vague in a way, and that's what made me learn. You have to be precise about the emotion that you want to feel when you get the thing that you're asking for in the spell. But you really don't have to be precise, and the less precise the better, about the actual manifestation of it. Like, the thing that you need to keep in mind is the sensation you're gonna have, not the ways to get there, because indeed magic goes the path of least resistance, like water. We did that spell. 11 days later, something crazy, multiple crazy things happen. On the very same day, I think on the 29th of April, both you and I got a call for art projects, different art projects,
ones, yeah,
that we had been already told we didn't get.
Yeah.
So in my case, someone pulled out of a cohort of artists, and so I was the first reserve. And in your case, they just found more funding.
Yeah, they realized they had extra space. Like when they negotiated it with the billboard company, they gave them more than they had. Because I think the point as well is like everyone was supposed to have 4 images, but if not everyone was putting in 4 images, that means that there was more space for more people. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So in different ways, but both these application for art projects, art galleries that we independently applied for, each of us as an artist, as a solitary artist, as an individual artist, both the same day call us back saying the same thing. Actually, we got a space more. Would you like to join? It was my first paid commission, actually. And yeah, yours was across the entirety of the UK.
Yeah, national campaign.
We got to London, we got invited to an opening, like, oh, it was so fancy. So that was, you think that's already, and it's literally putting us in front of people that can appreciate what we do, and it paid. That wasn't it all. Because I think around the same time, or possibly a week later, probably the entire reason why you are here is that Capitalism and Cottagecore, our first video essay on this channel, for some reason, for a short amount of time, encountered the favor of the gods of the algorithm. And so people were pushed this video too. It was a very well-made video, despite the fact that it was the very first video essay that we did in that style. So we didn't have a script. We had ideas, we had knowledge, we had bullet points, but we had never done something like that before. It worked really well. You appreciated it. I was really grateful. I still am. And most of you probably are here because of that. And it started friendships, like I got in touch with people like Sofia Righetti, my friend, because her in Italy got my video pushed to her, and I knew of her by fame before that. So it was, so yeah, that's still the best, most positive and most obvious, like these happened because the spell happened. So yeah. And it affected us both, like the fact that clearly the universe recognizes we are one entity, accidentally split in two bodies, because yeah. I think it's nice. I think it's nice to have that kind of recognition from the universe. 5. How has your craft enriched the lives of others?
This is on you. I don't do much for other people.
But it's not, how have you enriched? Well, I've just said you have enriched my life in the fact that you give me access to more of you.
Yeah.
And that's that is something that cannot be quantified in words. The fact that there's more of you to love, quite literally, it's, yeah.
But yeah, beyond what we do here.
So this is something you made me notice in the way that I invite the use of witchcraft in things that might seem mundane or might seem like just very practical issues. And I'm like, well, they are practical issues. We're doing something about it practically. Would you like for us to hold the space to also do a witchy ritual about it?
Yeah, you're good at bringing those rituals into things. And then, we realized that the thing that I offer you is the divination side of things.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm really good at divination.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
whenever you have anxieties or fears of something that might be going on in the world, it's like, well, let's ask the cards.
Let's ask the cards.
Let's ask the pendulum.
Gosh, you and the pendulum. You and the pendulum, seriously. Things that make me believe in magic. Raven, when she holds a pendulum.
But then, you as well for divination for the community as well. Like
That's true. That was really, like, I don't like to blow my own trumpet much. Just because, tarot readings are something so personal. I think every tarot reader gives something of value. And the fact that we all have so different styles, it's what makes it, like, I think when you choose a tarot reader, you are also guided by the universe to go to the person that needs to tell you what you need to hear. At the same time, when that becomes some sort of psychosis and you end up with people that tell you you have a curse and you need to pay £500 for them to remove it, that usually is a sign that you need to stop and not pay them, by the way. But there's just these random tips in general. But yeah, I do believe that when you choose a tarot reader, there's already a magic in act that drives you to the person that will tell you what you need to hear. Not what necessarily you want to hear, but what you need to hear. And when I started to do tarot readings, even before I did them on Coffee as I do them now, I used to do them for my friends here in Cardiff a lot. And I think the way that they were spooky, because it's not, I'll give it that, like, it's not just the spookiness of reading the future, which I don't necessarily claim to do. Indications might be given, but I'm not claiming that I'm telling you what's going to happen in the future. But I think something that was just very instinctual to me from the beginning was not only reading what the cards say if they present possibilities about the future, but also, okay, this is a possibility. This is the action that is worth taking around, considering what the cards are. So I think what is most, I don't know if it's unique, but it's what the quality of my tarot readings are, is that they are not just descriptive of situations or possibilities.
You're quite predictive.
Yes, but
I know that for me in my tarot readings, I'm very rarely predictive. I'm more insight about the present. But I think you have a very kind of predict the future quality to you that helps people prepare. And
this is the part where I remind you that when I sell tarot readings, it's for entertainment purposes only. I cannot promise you that. But yeah,
you just had a few too many that turned out true.
Yeah. I just something that actively I think I do and I like to do and I usually get the best feedback about is, if this is what comes, it's worth looking at things in this way and taking these kind of actions and considering these things. So it's always something actionable, because I don't like to just sit and look at things coming at us. Like, what can we do about them? 6. What are you most looking forward to trying in your craft and why? Yeah, this is gonna be an interesting one. Okay. So on my side, we discussed it a bit because I was like, I don't know, I do what I do. Going back to the issue of cultural Catholicism trauma, I am used to delegate to authority. Not only as somebody that was raised in Italy, but as someone that was femme and racialized in Italy. So when you are marginalized like that, not necessarily everyone, but when you are marginalized like that and raised by a white family that does not understand your own marginalizations, in my case, I tended to believe, okay, if I recognize what the rules are, what the authority is, and I go by it, surely by well behaving, I will be treated nicely, nicer. It doesn't work. But I did it for a very long time. And so it's very ingrained to me to follow a ritual, follow a rule that somebody else established, follow more than lead. And that's something that I'm trying slowly to deconstruct. I think I started when I started to be politically active, like in the last decade, because I started to realize it doesn't matter how well I behave, they will come for me. And they will come for you too. Like, just so you know. If you're watching this, I'm pretty confident in saying that they will come for you too. So keep that in mind. Your silence will not protect you. I forgot, you're too pretty. What was the question? Given my unfortunate indoctrination, imprinting on authority, I am trying to break that down even in my witchcraft. I think for these first 3 years, I've been very dependent on things that already exist, following what other witches have done, as long as, their values align with mine. But that made me realize that I do delegate to higher authorities than myself, which kinda is in conflict with the entire idea that a witch is in charge, in power, in control of her life.
Which is a point that I've always made about like the interconnectivity of all the different practices. Is that any tool, any symbolism, anything that's anything we're using as part of our craft regularly, they're just focusing. They are lenses that you use to focus your energy and focus your intention at a goal to help it come into focus and achieve it more easily. The thing to then evaluate on yourself is what are the things that you are putting value in.
Because that's the thing, like the power of a witch comes from, your action and your intentions. But it is true that not every part of our mind is as accessible or as ready to believe into things. And the subconscious does a lot of shit.
Because I think your belief in the planetary alignments and astrology of that, that makes complete sense to me because you love to schedule and organize calendars so well. Yes, of course, in your connection to the universe, having a planet to go, right, today is the day, this is the time, you do it within these hours and this will work. Of course that works for you.
That focuses my intention very well. Much sense.
But yeah, it's not necessarily going to work for someone like me who's completely scatterbrained and does things when I feel like it. And it's only when I feel like it is it going to work, if I force myself at a particular time.
No, I get it. I understand that all these things, they create a framework which, if you are an autistic person and someone that has been used to follow authority for different reasons that I just explained, might lend itself very well. So I have a very structured way to practice, to do actions, to organize, to do even my daily rituals, not only spellcraft. But at the same time, it is not only restrictive, at least I don't feel it necessarily as restrictive, but how much of my nature and identity does it have in it? Not as much. Probably I like these things because there's some sort of recognition. Probably part of it I adapt, but there's a lot, again, of delegating authority to sigils and talismans that are already made, to history, and something that I am rediscovering through the work of Kellyanne, and probably one of the reasons why we're doing this tag, is the entire point of our first book of Rebel Witch, which is about infusing the things that matter to you in your practice so that when you want to call to that authority, you can still do it, but you do it to the authority of your experience and of your past and of the things that have mattered to you.
Whereas for me, on the other hand, it's the exact opposite. Like, I'm too in myself for everything. So yeah, what I'm looking forward to is actually letting go a bit of like my power over myself and being able to negotiate with the universe, with deities, with other forces. It's in not necessarily in the way of like surrendering myself to authorities, but in a sense of like being able to negotiate with other powers, to be able to trust in other things to do things in aid of me, to work with me. Because otherwise I'm just kind of I'm trying to empower myself to do the thing, when it would probably go a lot easier if I could, cooperate with.
Delegate. Yeah. I get that. So it's interesting to see how we can move basically towards each other with this in helping each other with that kind of movement in our practice. Because not all of our practices are actually entangled. Actually, we are ironically very solitary witches even in what we do. Sometimes we do shared rituals and spells. Not that often, actually.
And it's usually like you take care of the protection.
Yeah, the technicalities of everything. Yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting to see how we can then hopefully help each other. Me to leave some authority behind, and some of the structure then realistically. That's the thing, because I'm very. Which is bizarre because I have no earth in my birth chart, and you have a stellium in Capricorn. So technically, Raven is the grounded one of the two. Can you believe that? Yes, actually. Yes, it makes complete sense. I'm scatterbrained in that sense, and you are the... I don't know, what's the thing about me then that I follow so much structure?
Because otherwise you'd fly away.
I'm trying to think, like I have Saturn in the 4th house but yeah, never mind. Yeah, I don't know why. Technically with all this stuff I should be very... not grounded, but you'd imagine these characteristics to be of an earth sign. I have no earth in my birth chart. You have all the earth instead. 7. What do you like the most about witchy community online and offline? So probably because we have been lucky. Like I can't lie, we've been blessed in the witchy community that we are in online and offline. It's great to find other people that share our values about how the world is, what the world is, and what in the world needs to change. And bringing that sense of ethics and morality along with a vision still of spirituality and magic that is not oppressed by, again, organized religion. Those two things is not something that I thought could come together, and it's amazing. But then again, I have to recognize our privilege in this, that all the people that we have around were activists, were queer people, therefore activists in existing. So our circle is made mostly of activist witches.
Yeah, as I said in the last video, like the biggest source of conflict is to join a community of beliefs under the assumption that you'll find people with the same values.
Yes.
And I think we actually have been very lucky in finding people with shared values and similar beliefs. Not necessarily the same beliefs, because actually once you unify around value over belief, then the beliefs come secondary. You don't all have to agree on the same everything about everything, but as long as you have the same mindset of like, this is what we need to work towards, and this is how we make things better for everyone. That's what fosters proper community. That's
definitely the luck that we've had in the witch community, on and offline.
And the different beliefs as well, like they create such a wonderful variety of discussion.
Absolutely.
Like the things we can learn from each other, the things we can take, and the things we can give each other are much better if we all have slightly different backgrounds and belief systems that we can...
Because you can learn so much,
all pour into the communal pot of cool stuff.
As long as the values of like what's right and wrong remains the same, then the beliefs, when they merge together, allow you to literally learn about how different people see the world differently. But they still at the core believe that right and wrong are certain things. So that's a safe and good way to do things. So far, we've been lucky, but yeah.
You kind of have to reverse engineer it to work out why it's worked for us and why we see so much.
Yeah. Because people have been asking me all the time, like, I always seem to have this amazing community around, and I was like, you're right, I don't know why. Let me find out. I'm just lucky, partially. Yeah. Cardiff is very active, but there's also that. There's also the understanding what is important to you, what is non-negotiable, and therefore how to find other people that can coalesce around the same values. 8. How do you envision your craft evolving positively in the future? So I've said it before, I've said it recently when I was at the Critical Thinking Witches conference. I want more in-person community. I love being here. It's amazing. It works very well for my autistic brain because it allows me a delay to interact with you. This is how I've interacted with the world for the last 15 years, and it works amazingly for me. But at the same time, I would like something that I have done here in Cardiff. We've done together. We've done tarot workshops, but that is still very one-to-many, like I'm sort of behind the desk and I'm teaching you. I don't want to do that. I want something horizontal. Like I want to find ways to open a space to pagan curious people, witchy curious people that also are queer, that also are neurodivergent, that also are interested in activism. And we just spend together, I don't know, 2 hours per month practicing tarot with each other, practicing other things, talking to each other. I don't want it to be hierarchical, and I want us to just come together. It probably sounds close to a coven, but a coven also, in my experience so far, can feel like a lot of pressure and responsibility on the people. Like we used to be in a chat that it was local and it was called a coven. And some people really put the responsibility on the coven. We have to do things at the will of the year. If you're not doing anything, you're taking it seriously. I cannot have that pressure, honestly. I'm very glad if people feel that way and they can do it and they want to do it. I want something more casual, but present, but constantly present. So that's why the thought was, how do I start something where we can meet monthly? I'm currently talking with the Cardiff Library to have a space to try and do that and come up with, I don't know, a name. Witches South, I don't know. I'm looking for ideas that give the idea that we are witches, but we are also activists and interested in human rights, and we come together, because that's the point. You have the interest in witchery and witchcraft, but you have a certain kind of values. Yeah. Because otherwise, I cannot waste my time with you, really.
I think like people joke about it in media all the time of like, oh, let's all hold hands and sing Kumbaya. It's like, actually, you know what? Yes, let's all hold hands and sing Kumbaya.
What's wrong with it?
It's fine. Let's do something together. Let's be in the moment.
Like, I think
together.
the Kumbaya is in and of itself a bit colonial. But other than that, like, you know, the simple concept of coming together and being respectful to each other.
Hakuna Matata.
I think that there are problems. It's fine. It's fine. Well, let's do something that does not infringe on anybody's, and we are respectful to each other. Which is something that the online community is not going down a drain. Again, we're really lucky because we have amazing people around us. I will always tell you, go check out Saplintaro, go check out Kellyanne Maddox. There are plenty of decent people. But online is everywhere, and people everywhere or anywhere have different backgrounds, might have different levels of knowledge and understanding of the framework, and sometimes think that they can be witches on the right hand of politics, or they can be witches for Trump. And I only have so much patience to explain to them why historically that's incorrect. So you keep doing you, babes, but you're not gonna get my attention. Yeah. 9. How do you keep your witchcraft practice healthy, happy, and productive? So that felt a bit like pressure. Like, I don't know. I have a practice, but sometimes I falter. And, it's okay. I used to put much, much more pressure on myself, to be honest, and that wasn't healthy. Well, I
think the funny part about that is with the deity rituals is that your deities were telling you to calm down.
It's true.
They're like, I don't know why you agreed. Well, I don't know why you offered to do this in the way that you're doing, because clearly it's too much for you, and we're not here to drain you and wear you down. Like, no, reevaluate what you can bring, because
that's true. That happened with Venus in the first like 2-3 months. I promised too much. I couldn't deliver. And I talked about it in the Venus video. Like, go check that out. Like, there's always a point of do not promise date is something that you cannot fulfill. But at the same time, when you've promised something that then you realize you cannot fulfill, have a negotiation. Yeah. Like, do a tarot reading, do whatever kind of divination you do, and ask the deity, what else can I offer you that you're gonna be happy with, but that's also gonna not even respect my limits, but understand that my energy otherwise cannot be replenished, and this is going to be a hostage situation rather than a worship situation. Yeah.
So yeah, not having shame.
Yeah, no.
When it falters, and also I think if you do have something that you do regularly, if you do break the habit or you don't have the energy to do it every single day for a point, like take stock at that.
Yeah.
Take that as a sign of like, oh, I
need to check in.
I'm running on fumes. I'm at the end of my tether, and there's self-care work to be done.
Yeah. Let's look inward and let's realize if this does not live up to what I thought that I could do. Let's just reevaluate. Let's just take care. Let's look inwards and understand. Oh, what's going on here? And then you go and take care of yourself.
Wouldn't it be like a much better world if every time you saw someone who was like struggling to keep up, the first thing that you did was to ask them how you can help?
Yeah.
Instead of punishing them for not meeting expectations and not reaching targets.
And that's why witchcraft is the opposite of capitalism and capitalist mindset. That's the point. 10, which is almost the end. What is one piece of advice you would share with other witches to help them make their path more positive? Going back to the community, no witch is an island.
Yeah.
So it's okay to have a solitary practice. Again, as I mentioned, we technically have solitary practice and we live together.
Yep.
But it's very important to understand and to feel and to have connection with people that, again, share your values and share your vision on the world, because you understand the way that you fit in the universe that way. You understand more how what you do and the magic that you do and the witchcraft that you do affects the world, not just yourself.
I think adding on to that is recognizing that when we live in a very online world, and the first thing you're going to want to do to learn about things is to follow lots of other witches, to try and find that community, is to not confuse self-expression for self-actualization. As I said in the last video, buying all the witchy tools, wearing all the witchy outfits, and making all the aesthetic, autumny, cottagecore Instagram posts is not doing the craft. It's appearing as though you are doing the craft. You do not need those aesthetic elements to do it, and having those aesthetic elements isn't doing it.
Yeah.
You have to do the work. Connect to the things that you are doing. Connect to the things that you have. Like the whole point of consecration. You can consecrate absolutely anything, but that's a pouring of energy. It's a connection to an object and a dedication to something. I think that's more important, is focus on what you do, not what you look like to other people.
That would be the end of it. But since this tag, as I mentioned at the beginning, we took from the OG card slinger, Kellyanne Maddox herself, we decided to do a little bit of an ending as a standing ovation to her. So we decided to each of us pick a card and discuss that card with you. Because something that Kellyanne does on her Patreon, I think, is the one card riff. And boy, oh boy, she picks a card, I think it's monthly, not necessarily weekly, and she talks and dissects that card and all the possible implications of it for like half an hour on one card. You gotta give it to her. She knows what she's doing, and you can tell. So in honor of that, we're gonna try and find some guidance from our currently used decks and discuss that card with you, with our vision on it for you. I cannot just pull one at the back. I have my method of having to feel it, so give me a second.
I shuffle badly until something jumps out. Because like the other day I was doing that, and a card jumped. I thought a card jumped out, and I put it down, and it was the same from like a previous day or a couple of days. So I was like, probably not. Put it back in, shuffle again until something definitely jumped out. Exact same card.
So it needed to talk to you.
Yeah.
Right. What's your card?
This is the card. Okay, there's something physically about this card. This is.
Oh wow! I have the Tower. Okay, this is okay. I see exactly the kind of challenge that has been put to me here.
What's the point of this? What are we doing?
So we're talking about the kind of guidance that this card is bringing to us, or
But yes, that's the 4th time that this has come up in a week. That's easy enough.
What's your feelings about justice? Like, how do you interpret the justice card? That's the thing.
So I think the point about the justice card that's been coming up for me a lot lately is the reminder of you don't get if you don't do. Right?
You get into proportion of what you do, and the fairness of the justice card. Yeah, fair enough.
So it's a reminder of like, hey, I have the power. and I just need to put it into action. And if I do that, I will get the things that I want. It's a reminder to be optimistic about the results of what I do, but also telling me of like, there's no point wanting something if you're not going to do anything to then actually get it. And kind of the same thing as we've said a couple of times recently about, witchcraft isn't thoughts and prayers.
Yes.
So if you are going to do a spell, if you're going to do craft, if you're going to do the work, then back it up. It will empower your actions and make the things that you try to do actually succeed. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's just again the reminder to balance the magical side with the mundane side, but also balancing my goals with actual action. It's keeping the scale.
I've picked the tower, and it's very rare to me to pick the cards that I personally consider bad. Like I have a lot of respect for all the card slingers, Kellyanne first and foremost, that can always spin productively these cards. And I try to do so myself, especially when I read for other people. But the truth is that I am fucking terrified when the Tower, the Ten of Swords, or the Three of Swords come out in a reading that I'm doing, especially in person to someone, and I'm always terrified and my face is going to drop because I don't want to worry them. So the fact that this is basically a public reading and I pick one of these cards that I never pick for myself, it's calling me out, I feel, in the way that I fear to talk about these cards.
I mean, looking at it, like just thinking very presently, when the US government is presumably, as this video's come out, been shut down for about 10 days at this point. Yeah, some towers need to fall.
That is the case.
But also, yeah, it's a good reminder to, like, we cannot rely on the structures.
Yeah.
The structures that are put in place already, they are crumbling, they are failing. We have to turn to each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I have a very uncomfortable relationship with the tower specifically, because I talk about it in my video about calculating your ear cards. My ear cards, unfortunately, are accurate in the way that the tower shows up. So if you know Mary Kay Greer, Archetypal Tarot, she talks about the way that cards apply to describe years, and the years that have to do with the tower. One of the many things that it can be about how your life changes and upheaval comes is indeed discussing changes of residence and possible homelessness. Mm-hmm. And the two brushes of homelessness that I've had have been tower years. Only those. So you understand the way that I am a bit wary of this kind of card. Realistically, in a reading, of course, then it doesn't take that bigger context and bigger explanation of life and what happens. And something that I keep hearing from other readers, which bugs me, but it probably is true, is that as much as we don't want to look at tarot as predictive, even secular readers recognize that when the tower comes out, it's one of the few cards that tells you something is going to happen and it's out of your control. And you just need to weather the storm, basically. Which of course I don't like, because it means that I have no power over it. And I think picking up this card in a situation where I have to talk about it, where I'm doing a video and supposedly I'm in power and in control of it, I think it's very ironic, and my tarot deck, it's kind of telling me so. But there you go. Well, we hope that you had fun with us, that your cuppa was good. I really hope and invite everyone to revive this tag, because I think there is a time never like this that needs to be joyous. Yep. So let's try to find the positives about our witchery and witchcraft and witch life. And I thank Kellyanne for starting this 5 years ago, and I invite you all to take on this habit again 5 years later. And until the next video, I really hope
that we can hex the patriarchy together,
because there's need for it.